Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So if you are following along here, this is, I guess, basically episode 2 of the trail build. So yesterday, or last episode, I kind of gave you guys sort of the poor man's tour of the trails. Wasn't maybe the most exciting for you guys, but for me, I'm really pretty stoked actually to get this thing off the ground and get it going. I've been trying to kind of figure my way through here. Like I said, I've only got a couple acres to work with here and not a ton of elevation. So the objective here is to use as much elevation as I can. So anyway, so there's a couple things we're gonna look at today, kind of give you guys an overview. As I mentioned yesterday or last episode, really looking for some feedback because I really kind of do need some ideas. I'm gonna look at couple of spots here with you guys right behind me. I got 2 areas, possibly 3 I want to hit today, and I think I can get to them all. I don't got a lot of sunlight left. It's a little bit later in the day than I had hoped, but it's been pretty busy right before Christmas. Hope you guys are having a great preparation time for the holiday, for Christmas that is. So right behind me here I've got a tree I'm gonna work on kind of cutting down. First thing up today is the drop. I'm gonna get that drop knocked out. Got it all planned out. I think I'm pretty well in my head with what I want to do with that. So I'm gonna hit that first. Number 2, I'm gonna kind of skip through the jump area. I'm gonna work on the jump a little bit later. I've got kind of a mock-up, if you will, sort of a makeshift jump that I'm gonna do after the drop, but I'm not gonna work on that today because I've got some stuff I want to prep for that, and I'm not quite ready for that. So right after the jump, I'm going to have another drop, which I'm not going to work on today, but there's a section of trail after that gets pretty wet. I think those are the 2 areas we're going to hit on, and then I might, if I have time, work on this one berm I want to work on after that jump I mentioned, but that's not priority right now. Priority is getting this drop nailed down. We're going to work on these 2 there, and we're going to get it. So let's get to this now. I'll see you guys in a second. Let's jump over here. So kind of just getting an idea of where everything's going to line up here was the main idea behind this, just kind of using this log here to get an idea of distance and then where I need to dig. So I'm kind of just laying in a little bit of a rut here, a little bit of a clearing, some space to see if I'm going to start my drop here or not. Just trying to get the most drop I could. Had the tree that just happened to fall right next to the trail. I was going to use a different tree initially, but this one actually wound up being perfect, just long enough for all of the pieces that I needed for the framework for this. So I've got this first rail cut. I'm going to kind of use this and then line this up on top of the remaining log here, and just make sure my measurements are pretty good without having to get the tape measure out. Kind of lay that down on top there and cut this section out. So I've got 2 rails coming along now, and then kind of just get these in place over here back by the drop area. And then at the base of that tree, the remaining section, I'm able to cut out the post, which I'm using a single support post, which I may make a little bit longer in time. Right now, we'll see how it lines up. Just get everything kind of eyed up at this point and lay out the final pieces here before I actually kind of lock this place in. So had some other pieces of that same tree I used for the front end, which is the cross section you see me lining up here. Kind of notched that out, just kind of lining that up, and then I just kind of notch out the ends of the 2 stringers and get those set up, and then all of this is going to kind of lock in place
the idea was to make this as simple as possible, but also as strong as possible. So got my hole getting ready here for this main single post. I think if I was building this for a public space, probably would have gone with 2 posts in the front. But because I pretty well can gauge the amount of traffic I'm going to see on this drop here, and the fact that besides myself, it's going to be mostly smaller people riding this thing, I'm not really worried about having to have some massively overbuilt structure, which it's already pretty overbuilt. These 2 stringers here are basically like 4x4 posts, and then like a 6x6 post in the ground. So just kind of screwing everything in, tightening everything down, and then come back up to the other end here, and I just want to make sure this thing isn't moving around at all. Since I only have a single post in the front, I'm kind of going to rely on how well I lock everything into the ground and into these cross boards on top. So I'm just kind of chopping this thing out here, digging it out the best that I can. And then I need to trim a little bit off the top. I want this to line up and be a pretty smooth running. So I'll get kind of just squared away there. I think I'm gonna try and pin this down the best I can. And right now I'm just putting slats in. I did drive 2 spikes, which you don't see in this video, down into the ground as well through the very end of this. It wasn't going anywhere. I just felt a little bit better about that. And my initial plan was to use all split logs. I like how rough they are, but ultimately I just don't have enough larger logs to cut up and split like this. A lot of what's fallen on the property are these smaller logs and small trees, and I didn't want to waste that also. So I've got a couple of other features I'm going to be building. So this is kind of a little bit of a trial and error, a bit of a test on this piece. So just getting that kind of run-in square, just kind of feeling this thing out. Decided to bolt this in a little bit better, but really, since I'm not going to be walking across this thing, it's going to be something I'm going to be riding down the center of. Once I have the rest of these slats on, this thing is pretty solid. So just gonna right now just kind of eyeing up to see how many more boards I need based on what I already have cut, which is kind of out of frame, you can't see right now. Next up though, we're going to head over to the tree I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and I'm just going to go in and kind of chop up a couple more pieces, put that together, and then get this thing set. This tree wasn't really down when I started laying with this trail. We had a pretty good storm come through recently, and it took this tree down. It's kind of sad because it was a really nice tree. Where it was on the property is up against neighbor's property, which are kind of the real quintessential nosy neighbors, and the last thing I wanted to do was lose any trees back there for privacy, but unfortunately this tree did come down, so it served out really well. It was pretty much the perfect size, the middle section of the tree, you see me cutting into here. I was able to get enough wood out of that, just the right size, to get everything I needed for the rest of the slats for this drop. So I'm sad to see the tree come down. I really am pretty conservative when it comes to cutting anything down. I don't want to disturb anything that I don't have to disturb. And as I've kind of gone out and ridden this trail a couple times already, I can tell you there's probably one or two trees I don't want to kind of disturb, and they're smaller. That's another reason is, I want to give this whole back end here. You can see behind me how open it is to the neighbor's backyard, and their property is a lot smaller than ours, and it backs up to the side of ours, and they got a bunch of little dogs that are just like yapping all the time. So the plan is to plant as many green giants along that fence line and just kind of make a big thick privacy wall of tree. So that's the plan, but right now it's, as you can see, it's pretty open. So had some kind of final pieces I needed, and I took out of another small tree that had fallen that was just off to the left of where you see me now. And this was these were the final pieces I needed, pretty much exactly what I needed in terms of size and everything. So I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, this really was my first feature and my first go at building any kind of features like this. I've helped out obviously at our local, conservancy down at San Lee, but most of that's usually we're just digging. A lot of that's just like, just sweating, kind of just digging through stuff and working on the biggest challenge usually is water. So making sure that water flows really well. But today, this was I felt a pretty big accomplishment. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It looks great. It rides phenomenal. In the next video, you're going to see some me just kind of taking you through a quick ride of the first half of this. So you'll see how this drop rides. I'm pretty happy with it. I might lift it up a little bit, but
well, that's going to wrap things up for today, guys. We got the drop finished up there. Christmas is right around the corner, so I got some projects to work on. So that's going to wrap it for today. Thank you guys so much for checking in today. Just a little heads up for next Tuesday. We're going to be working on this jump, that berm, and then that back section I mentioned there, trying to get over that wet section there. So we'll be working on that. I'm going to try and box this out a little bit. So that'll all be next Tuesday. I want to thank you guys for checking things out over here in the backyard at SAMTV, the Jungle Book. So that's it. Thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you guys having a great holiday. Hope you're having a blessed weekend coming up. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.